Bridge to Nowhere. Prologue: the road that should not exist. A few miles east of the busy commercial strip of Manahawkin, hidden among thousands of acres of tidal wetlands, lies one of the most puzzling structures in southern New Jersey. There is no sign announcing its presence. No visitor center explains its history. No plaque tells travelers why it was built. Instead, a lonely roadway pushes out into the marshlands before ending at the remains of a bridge that seems to lead nowhere at all. To first-time visitors, it feels almost surreal. Cars roar across nearby Route 72 carrying vacationers to Long Beach Island. Shopping centers, restaurants, neighborhoods, and marinas fill modern Stafford Township. Yet only a short distance away sits a relic from another era, isolated among salt grass and tidal creeks. The structure is known simply as the *** Bridge to Nowhere. The nickname sounds humorous, but behind it lies a fascinating story involving engineering ambition, wartime communications, environmental challenges, real estate dreams, local folklore, and the relentless power of nature. For decades, residents have debated why the bridge was built. Some claim it was meant for a massive housing development. Others insist it served military or telecommunications facilities. A few believe it was part of a larger transportation plan that never materialized. The truth likely contains pieces of all these stories. To understand the bridge, one must first understand the land beneath it. Chapter 1: A landscape born of water. Long before Stafford Township existed, the area surrounding the bridge was part of an immense coastal wilderness. The wetlands stretching behind Long Beach Island formed over thousands of years through the interaction of tides, storms, and sediment. Twice every day, water flowed in and out of the marshes. Small creeks widened into larger channels. Mud flats appeared and disappeared. Grasses adapted to saltwater conditions. The result was one of the most productive ecosystems on the East Coast. These marshes acted as natural storm barriers, fish nurseries, bird habitats, water filtration systems, buffers against coastal flooding. For indigenous peoples who lived in the region long before European settlement, the marshes were valuable sources of food and transportation. Fish, shellfish, waterfowl, and plants supported communities throughout the area. When European settlers arrived, they often viewed the wetlands differently. To many colonists, marshes appeared to be obstacles. They were difficult to farm, difficult to build on, difficult to cross. For centuries, the marshlands remained largely untouched because they resisted development. Nature had created a landscape that simply did not want roads. Chapter 2: Stafford Township before modern development. The Stafford region remained rural throughout much of its history. Small settlements emerged along waterways. Residents earned their living through fishing, clamming, oystering, farming, timber harvesting, boat building. Travel was slow. Roads were primitive. Boats often provided easier transportation than wagons. The communities surrounding Manahawkin Bay were isolated compared to major cities farther north. Life revolved around the water. Weather dictated schedules. Tides influenced daily activities. The vast marshes east of Manahawkin remained largely undeveloped because the expense of construction outweighed potential benefits. That situation would eventually change with the arrival of tourism. Chapter 3: The Long Beach Island Boom. The late 19th century transformed the Jersey Shore. Vacation travel became increasingly popular. Railroads allowed city residents to escape urban environments during summer months. Long Beach Island evolved from a relatively isolated barrier island into a thriving resort destination. Hotels appeared. Boardwalks expanded. Beach communities grew. Visitors arrived by the thousands. Suddenly, transportation became critically important. Developers and politicians recognized that improved access meant increased economic growth. Every new bridge, road, and transportation link created opportunities for businesses and real estate development. As Long Beach Island grew, attention turned toward the mainland marshes. What had once been considered useless wetlands now represented potential waterfront property. Developers saw possibility where previous generations saw only mud and grass. The stage was being set for ambitious projects. Some would succeed. Others would fail spectacularly. Chapter 4: Engineering Against Nature. Building a road through a salt marsh is one of the most difficult challenges an engineer can face. Unlike solid ground, marshes are constantly moving. Beneath the surface lies a mixture of water, mud, organic material, sand, decaying vegetation. Heavy structures naturally sink. Roadbeds shift. Pilings settle unevenly. Flooding occurs regularly. Storms can erase years of work in a matter of hours. To construct a roadway, engineers must import enormous amounts of fill material. The road must be elevated. Drainage must be considered. Foundations must be reinforced. Maintenance becomes a never-ending process. The very existence of the bridge to nowhere proves that somebody invested significant money and effort into overcoming these obstacles. This was not a temporary trail. This was intended to be permanent infrastructure. Chapter 5: The Mystery of its Original Purpose. No discussion of the bridge to nowhere can avoid the central question. Why was it built? Over the decades, 3 major explanations have emerged. Each contains evidence. Each has supporters. Each tells a different story about Stafford Township's past. Rather than a single answer, the bridge may represent overlapping chapters in local history. Chapter 6: Theory 1: The Lost Development. The most commonly accepted explanation centers on real estate development. Following World War II, coastal New Jersey experienced explosive growth. Developers began constructing lagoon communities throughout Ocean County. Entire neighborhoods were created by dredging canals through marshlands. Waterfront lots sold quickly. Boating culture exploded. Communities such as Beach Haven West demonstrated that wetlands could be transformed into residential developments. The bridge to nowhere may have been intended as the access route to a similar project. Plans likely envisioned roads, homes, docks, artificial lagoons, waterfront neighborhoods. The bridge would have connected the future community to the mainland road network. Then something changed. Perhaps financing collapsed. Perhaps environmental regulations became stricter. Perhaps construction costs exceeded expectations. Perhaps market conditions shifted. Whatever happened, development stopped. The bridge remained. The community never arrived. The road became a doorway to a future that never occurred. Chapter 7: Theory 2: The Communications Connection. Another fascinating explanation links the bridge to communications infrastructure. During the 20th century, portions of coastal New Jersey played important roles in national telecommunications networks. Remote marshland locations offered advantages. They were isolated from electrical interference. Large antenna systems could be installed away from populated areas. Historical accounts connect the area to facilities associated with telephone communications and receiving stations. If this theory is correct, the bridge may have served technicians and maintenance crews traveling to equipment located deep within the wetlands. The quiet marshes that appear empty today may once have contained important technological infrastructure hidden from public view. During wartime, communications facilities held strategic significance. Reliable telephone and radio systems were essential to military operations. The bridge may therefore represent a forgotten piece of America's communications history. Chapter 8: Theory 3: The Alternate Causeway. The third major theory is perhaps the most dramatic. For generations, access to Long Beach Island depended heavily upon Route 72. Any disruption could create major problems. Accidents, storm damage, hurricanes, evacuations. Some residents believe the bridge formed part of a proposed secondary route toward the barrier island. Had such a project been completed, it could have provided an alternate crossing during emergencies. Imagine the engineering challenge. Miles of roadway stretching across open marsh. Additional bridges crossing tidal channels. Connections to Long Beach Island itself. The cost would have been enormous. While definitive proof remains elusive, local discussions have kept this theory alive for decades. Chapter 9: The structure itself. Visitors often focus on the mystery, but the bridge itself deserves attention. When intact, the structure served as a practical crossing over tidal waterways within the marsh. Its design reflected the realities of coastal construction. The roadway leading toward the bridge was elevated above surrounding wetlands. The bridge allowed water movement beneath the structure while maintaining vehicle access above. Every component had to withstand salt air, flooding, high winds, temperature changes, corrosion. Unlike bridges in urban areas, this structure operated in an environment where nature constantly attacked every exposed surface. Maintenance would have been essential. Once maintenance stopped, deterioration became inevitable. Chapter 10: Decline begins. Abandoned infrastructure rarely fails all at once. Instead, decline occurs gradually. A loose board appears. Rust develops. Vegetation spreads. Storm damage accumulates. Repairs cease. Years pass. The bridge entered this stage sometime after its original purpose disappeared. Without funding or maintenance, the structure became vulnerable. Every hurricane season accelerated deterioration. Every winter freeze weakened materials. Every summer brought additional exposure to salt and humidity. Nature began reclaiming the landscape. Chapter 11: Fire in the Marsh. One of the most significant events in the bridge's later history was a fire that damaged portions of the structure. The exact circumstances remain part of local law. Whether accidental or intentional, the blaze altered the bridge permanently. Wooden sections were destroyed. Structural integrity suffered. The crossing became increasingly unusable. Eventually, portions disappeared entirely. This destruction transformed the bridge from abandoned infrastructure into a true ruin. The famous image recognized today emerged after these losses. A roadway ending abruptly. A gap where a crossing once existed. A destination forever disconnected. Chapter 12: The Rise of a Local Legend. As physical evidence disappeared, stories multiplied. The bridge became a canvas for imagination. Local teenagers visited at night. Photographers captured dramatic sunsets. Fishermen swapped theories. Explorers searched for clues. Every visitor added another layer to the legend. Rumors included secret military facilities, hidden bunkers, government projects, lost developments, smuggling routes, wartime communications stations. Most stories contained grains of truth mixed with speculation. The uncertainty made the location even more intriguing. People love mysteries. The bridge to nowhere offered one in plain sight. Chapter 13: Nature reclaims the project. Today, the marsh is winning. Saltgrass surrounds the roadway. Birds nest nearby. Tides continue their ancient cycles. The environment that engineers once attempted to conquer is slowly erasing their work. This process has become part of the landmark's appeal. The bridge illustrates a larger lesson found throughout the Pine Barrens and coastal New Jersey. Human projects often seem permanent. Nature measures time differently. Roads disappear. Buildings collapse. Steel rusts. Wood rots. The marsh endures. Chapter 14. The Bridge Today. Modern visitors encounter a place suspended between history and wilderness. The sounds are striking. Wind moves through the grass. Water flows through narrow channels. Ospreys call overhead. Traffic noise fades into the distance. The bridge feels separated from the modern world despite being only minutes from busy roads. For photographers, it is a dramatic subject. For historians, it is an unsolved puzzle. For locals, it is a familiar landmark. For explorers, it is a reminder that not every story reaches a conclusion. Epilogue, a monument to unfinished futures. Most historic structures celebrate success. The Bridge to Nowhere is different. It commemorates uncertainty. Somewhere in the past, engineers drew plans. Developers imagined neighborhoods. Officials considered transportation routes. Technicians may have crossed the marsh to reach communications equipment. Workers built roads and pilings. Money was spent. Effort was invested. Expectations were high. Then history took another path. What remains today is more than an abandoned bridge. It is a rare monument to a future that never happened. Standing at the end of the roadway, gazing across the endless marshes of Stafford Township, one can almost see the ghost of the original vision stretching beyond the horizon. The bridge may lead nowhere today, but its story leads deep into the history of the Jersey Shore, where ambition met the marshlands, and the marshlands ultimately had the final word.